much. So welcome again to another packed Sitecore technical use group. As always, we really appreciate your attendance. Tonight we have Andy Thompson, one of the tech consultants at Sitecore, talking to you about... Hang on, we've got some music going. Is that pretty good to express kill the music? Forgot where I was. Yeah, so we got Andy Thompson from Sitecore talking about problem solving with Sitecore and some of the work that he's been doing with our partners and clients recently and putting that into a bit of a formal process. And then we've got Mark Cassidy, who is an independent Sitecore consultant. Would that be fair to say? Yeah. That's it, nailed it. And he's talking to us about the rules engine in Sitecore, so how to rule Sitecore with the rules engine. Thank you very much, and don't forget that you will be expected to fill out a questionnaire to win an attack kit. Apparently it fires these discs over 30 metres, so I'm sure you'll have fun with that with USB and mobile phone apps and all that kind of stuff. So thank you very much, and over to Andy.
Brilliant. Okay, as Anthony said, title of my presentation today is Problem Solving with Sitecore. It's not necessarily specific to Sitecore, so it can be used for sort of any problem that you come across. I'm going to start by talking about bugs. I like bugs, and if you've seen my previous presentations, you'll know that I've discussed silly bugs. I'm then going to discuss a root cause analysis worksheet I've put together. I've used this at previous companies that I've worked for to basically break down nasty bugs or nasty issues that we get. So I'm going to discuss that. I'm going to do a brief demonstration of how we can put that into practice. I'm then going to talk about the benefits of using it. And then at the final slide will be a little cheat sheet that we've put together, Sitecore specific. Okay, so my previous talks on continuous integration have obviously addressed the silly bugs that you get, trying to eradicate them from our code, best practices. You know, in previous chats I've said, you know, we will get nasty bugs, but you know, we won't get a lot of them, and we'll expect to plan for them, you know, so they're not as much of a surprise when they come up. But what do we do with them, you know, when they rear their head? So what we've put together here is the root cause analysis worksheet, and the idea of this is to get the thoughts out of your head, basically get everything that you can down on paper, and then sort of apply a methodical approach to problem solving. So, you know, this doesn't mean very much as it stands, so how do we actually use this? So at the very start, what you do, I mean, you can't see this very well on here, but you form the problem statement. So what do you know about the problem that you're having? You then define what the expected behaviour is. Can I actually increase this? No. You then describe what you're actually seeing. So what is actually happening? What is the problem? And then if you can, then add some steps to actually reproduce that problem. So if someone else was to take this sheet and wanted to, you know, pick this up, how would they, what steps would they do to actually get to the same stage that you are with that problem? Then the next step is to mark any significant events that you're aware of. So, you know, have you done an upgrade recently to a new version? Have you done a Sitecore upgrade to a new Sitecore version? Anything that you can think of that might contribute to that issue. And then the 5 whys. So establish where and when the issue first occurred. Establish where and when it worked previously, or if it worked previously. Establish whether it occurs elsewhere, so is it happening on different environments. Establish whether it's a consistent, you know, variable or intermittent issue, and sort of basically get as many facts down as you can about the problem. And again, this is something that you probably will do, you know, just you know, human nature on every single day. And but this is for more sort of complex issues. So things like blue screens of death, or yellow screens of death, that sort of thing. Things that you can't explain, or things that are taking more than a couple of days to fix, and it's come to the point where you need to do something and actually get it down on paper. So the fourth step is then, as you will do in every day, is just form some hunches, form some hypotheses of why this problem might be occurring, and do that based on your existing experience. And you're going to do that anyway. So maybe I've just done a memory upgrade. Could it be the memory? Could it be the Sitecore upgrade? What could be contributing to this issue? And then basically form a reasonable test in order to disprove or prove that that's the cause of the issue. And what I like to do at this point is, once you've got maybe a couple of these down, is actually order them in how quickly they will be to reproduce. So if it's the case of could it be a Sitecore package that we've installed? That's easy to roll back. So maybe we do that first, and then if it's a roll back to a previous version, we do that second. And then maybe it's something to do with actually the hardware. That might be a bit difficult. You have to speak to the customer in order to get hardware changes, maybe change the memory and things like that. So do that first. So it's about trying to form these tests to make the problem fail fast. And then basically start your tests. So once you hunch one, test one, evaluate the cause of the issues, and are these in our control? If they are, and you can establish a countermeasure, put that in place as soon as you can. If they're not in your control, then obviously speak to the customer. Maybe it's the customer's issue. Maybe they've moved your software onto another server and caused an issue. And then check to see if the issue is still present once you've done the test, and do that for each test that you've basically put in practice. And repeat steps 2 and 3 until you get to the root cause. And if maybe on the second hunch and test you actually get a resolution, actually continue and do the third, because you may have multiple causes for that issue. You may not just get to the issue straight away. So do all three, and then once you've got to that, get to the root cause. So again, this is basically there to help you just break it down and get everything out of your head, and basically try and get to that root cause if you can. Because some of these issues, they may be quite complex, so it might not just be a single issue. So I'm going to lead into a demo here. So this is an example that we came across recently when we were importing some analytics data. So the problem statement that I've put down is, I've imported some data and my visitor data is not showing in the analytics dashboard even. And I've been using the traffic generator to do that, to simulate some demo traffic. And that's available in the marketplace if that's something that you want to do. My expected behaviour is that I should get more visits and value on the dashboard for June the 11th. So I've imported a CSV file with basically traffic generator, if you don't know, simulates a load of requests based on a CSV file that you import. And I've done some data for July the 11th, so I'm expecting a spike in traffic data for that day, and I wasn't getting it. So the actual behaviour is, we get the data, but it's the same as the previous day, or same as before I ran it. The steps to reproduce, so this is something I can reproduce. I mentioned before with maybe a memory upgrade, you may not be able to reproduce that because it's specific, maybe it's hardware related. So if you can add the steps to reproduce them, then put them down. So install the traffic generator and then use it to import the same spreadsheet, obviously, that I used to generate the requests against the site. And then I added to the timeline some things that that I knew about, that I was aware about. So we upgraded to the new version of Sitecore 7 on the 27th of October. We then, on the 28th, imported the data, but it didn't show. On the 29th, the data magically appeared. So then I imported the data again against the same database, and again it didn't show. So then I thought, obviously get some facts down. So we know that data is showing for previous dates, so we've got data in there, so we know that works, and that was using the traffic generator. The visit data that we were expecting appeared the following day, so we know that. We know that we're using version 0.43 of the traffic generator and Sitecore 7 revision 130918. We know that data has been run into Office Core version 2.32, and we know in the traffic generator the spreadsheet URLs, this is a gotcha that's got me in the past, are pointing to the right request, calling the right request. So some hunches. Actually, can anyone suggest any ideas to why this might be happening? Has anyone come across this in the past? Anyone like to form a hypothesis? Any suggestions? No?
Database deadlock.
Database is locked?
Deadlock.
Deadlock? It could be that. So we could form a hunch. So what would you, in order to test that, what would you form a test?
First of all, we check all the logs and probably the system logs as well. And
Okay.
if it's in this database, I will try to create a SQL profiler.
Okay.
See what's in the table.
Brilliant. Cool. Anyone else? So we put that down on the sheet. That would be one of our hunches and one of our tests that we would put down. Anyone else? Sorry? Shove it under the rug. Nice. We could do that. It'd be a quick one to do. I'm not sure if it'd help us get root cause, but okay. Well, I'll give a couple and the thought process that I went through. So my initial thoughts were, could it be the browser? Could there be some caching going on there? Maybe the Silverlight XAP file was being cached. So a test there is clear the browser history and restart it, and then obviously go back in and do a refresh. Another one, maybe Sitecore's caching some of the dashboard views. So if you don't already know this, there's a dashboard reports folder under data, and Sitecore will cache some of your views in there as well for you. So another test would be clear the data / dashboard reports folder and then refresh the report. And then the final one, it's a bit of a giveaway, but could the Sitecore, well, actually a good point at this point would be that I basically considered those 2 points above, and they didn't pretty much work, and I'll show you that in the demo. So at this point, it's quite useful to have all this down, because then I can go to a colleague and I can say, right, look, I've got this issue. Have you got any ideas? And I don't have to then go and say, okay, I know this, I know that, and he's confused, and I'm not sure if I've got everything, that I want to communicate to him. So actually, then he can take a look at this. He can say, okay, what's the problem? What's the expected behaviour? How can I reproduce it? What facts do we know? And he's really quickly back up to speed. So it really helps with sort of knowledge transfer and collaboration when you're solving these maybe nastier bugs. And equally, and I say this at the end, but for knowledge transfer, you can save this and then maybe upload this to your wiki, because maybe someone else will have this same problem in the future, and they can just quickly look and see your thought process and see how you got to that, and maybe run your tests against their application. So another hunch could be, and this was advised to me by John. So could Sitecore be using database level caching? So what the Sitecore will do is there's some cache tables, and Sitecore will run a store procedure incrementally to actually refresh those cache tables, and I'll show you that in the demo. So that's a bit of a gotcha. You probably wouldn't know that, and that's fine because it only does it for 2 days previous. So actually, if it's in the last 2 days, it's actually coming from the live tables. But my use case in development is I want to see the data, live all the time. So this is not something that I would think of. Okay. So on to the demo. I thought I'd find a little dog driving a car. What do you think is better than me? He drives better than me.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. He drives faster than me, actually. Get rid of some of these messages.
Where's it going? There's no idea. Maybe we create another worksheet.
He's actually going around the test track, but I got rid of all that because I didn't think you want to see that. I thought it was much cooler just to see the dog driving. I'm struggling a little bit with this resolution.
What you can't see is the woman culprit sort of stood right outside the window, sort of coasting along.
Just going to switch the screen resolution. Can you tell me if any of the TVs drop out when I do this? Can you guys still see back there? Yeah? Okay, I can see a bit better. Okay, so you can't actually see that, so let's put that over here. So this is our office core demo site. So this is what we use to help sell office core, sell Sitecore even. So I've used this to simulate the traffic data, and again, this may not work. So I'm hoping it will work. We've tried it a few times. So let's log in. Indeed. So if I
I'm
follow,
not sure what the traffic generator is. It's on the marketplace, and you can basically put in a spreadsheet of dummy data and you'll fake a load of data into your analytics database, just for your test servers, for your dashboards and reports and all that kind of stuff.
basically just fires a load of requests against your application. Triggers, you basically, I mean, I'll show you it in a sec, but you define your campaigns and your goals and things like that, and the path that you want it to take and the requests you want it to take. I'll show you that in a sec. So if I switch to day view in here, drag that across to the, it actually shows something different now. So I want the 11th of the 6th. Okay. So you can see here, we've got 745 value, so not very much, and 31 visits. So if I now close that, bring it up, enter. So this is, you basically embed the traffic generator in a layout, and then you can just basically upload your file. So I can probably just quickly show you this. So there's a couple of things in here, and there's documentation on the website, so I won't go into this too much. But you've got basically a URL for your referral. You've got the IP it came from, the referral type. If you wanted to trigger a campaign, you can define that. The date the traffic came, so in this case the 11th of the 6th. And then you can define a traffic level, an engagement value, and then basically define the traffic URLs that you want it to access. Select this, upload it. This is going to take a minute, so not great presentation stuff, but give it a minute. I need some of that music. Can you tell them to the music back? Okay, so we've got success. So here you can see, you all right guys? So you can see some of the requests that it's generated, and it's just a little summary report. So if we close it down, so done, we should have some data in there. So if we now go back to the dashboard, refresh the view. This is where it doesn't work. But you can see it's still not showing my data. So let's do the first test. So let's go in here, history, clear the browser. Close it down. See the dog again. So, if we fire up the dashboard, go to day again. So you can again see that it's not changed. Now, I was going to skip the next test. You just take my word for it. But the next test is to actually clear the dashboard reports, and I'll show you where they are. So in here we've got this dashboard reports folder, and it's basically cached them in there. So I'm actually going to clear them, but I obviously won't show you that it doesn't actually clear them. You have to stop IIS if you want to do this. Sometimes if the application is rebuilding the indexes in the background or the views in the background. I'll delete that now. Let's back up again. I'm just going to clear the history again. Go to the dashboard reports. Okay, so you can see again it's not changed. So if we now fire up, do the third test. So if we go into the databases, so I've got my analytics database down here, which is the Office Core user group. Go to programmability, go to stored procedures. See there's a refresh views procedure, so if I modify that, have a look at it. So you can see update the cache tables with aggregated data up until UTC midnight the day before yesterday. So you can see what that's doing, and then it's calling these sub procedures down here. So if I right click on that and go execute store procedure. Okay. Execute and give you some results. There you go. This is the moment of truth. Give it a refresh. Worked. So you can see that it's taken that on board. So if I switch back. So, coming back to our problem-solving sheet, we tried the first test and we got no change. We tried the second test, no change. Third test, great success. So we have an increase in views and value. So we can basically, in this instance, we can say that Sitecore cached the data in the database tables, and this was the data that was queried. So we needed to run those stored procedures.
Approach that would help alleviate that issue on a regular basis? Did I hear the word schedule somewhere?
running
Yes, so just a maintenance plan on that particular store procedure once a day. If you read the DMS scaling guide or DMS installation guide, it'll talk you through all the different maintenance plans you should set up for Sitecore databases, including the analytics database. So make sure you go through and set up one, set up an alert on it, and you'll never have that issue again. And if you do, you've got the problem solving worksheet.
Absolutely. Or you've got John to ask.
Or somebody in the office, yeah.
Cool. So pretty much just talking through it. I mean, it's a methodical approach to problem solving. You know, don't dive in and get stuck on hunches. I've had issues with developers in the past that, you know, will instantly think it's absolutely 100% that's the issue, and then they'll spend a day, you know, lose a day on that issue. If you can get all the hunches down, you can then plan them. You can give them a set amount of time, and you don't get stuck on a specific issue. So don't dive in. So, you know, consider the 5 W's. So, you know, what problem are you seeing? Who is affected by this? Is it something that all users are seeing, or is it happening across environments and geographical locations? Where is it happening? So, what URL was the user accessing when the problem occurred? You know, what server are the pages coming from that are affected? Where on the page is the problem, maybe? When did it happen? So, when did it start? Has it been going on for a while, or is it just happened recently? Why? So why is it an issue? So how is what's being reported different from what is expected? Okay. So as I said before, you know, it's a good point to start from if you hit a dead end and you need some help from someone else. So you knowledge transfer. No. They're sharing brains. And it's a customer deliverable. So in the past, especially if it's actually you're not the cause of the issue, and maybe you spent maybe a whole week looking into a problem, and you want to try and get some money back off the customer because it was them upgrading the memory, or I know it's not probably going to happen, but you know, a bit of goodwill. You can use it as a deliverable and submit that to them. They can see how you've got to that, you know, got to that root cause and why you think that's the problem. Okay. And then don't forget me. So, you know, in the continuous integration talks I've talked about silly bugs, but there's nothing to stop you, maybe not, you're not going to write down this for all the silly bugs, but actually if you use that approach of breaking things down, not jumping to hunches, and just use that, you know, on a daily basis just in your head, and when you're just you know, approaching just normal day-to-day issues, then it will help you get to the resolution a lot quicker. I think that's just sort of generally what I'm trying to put across there. And then we put together a little cheat sheet, and this document will be available for download afterwards. We'll circulate that so you can have it. And I won't go into this in too much detail. We're going to improve this as we go on, and trying to get feedback from different parts of the Sitecore team to contribute to this. But you know, we've tried to group it to, if you're getting a yellow screen of death, you know, have a look at the stat trace, have a look at the different levels of log files. So you know, maybe the Sitecore log files, the event logs, or the IF logs. If you're getting unexpected content or slow pages. So I know Kevin's going to do a user group soon on Sitecore Glimpse, and that's a great little tool you can install on your application, and you get a little heads-up display. It's basically a in-screen profiler, so it will tell you how long pages are taking to load and that sort of thing. And it's got DMS capabilities as well, so you can see what goals have been triggered and, you know, engagement value and that sort of stuff. So Kevin will go into that in a lot more detail. That's his baby. You know, and access rights and DMS issues. So, you know, one of the issues is what I've just shown you for DMS, but there's a couple of other gotchas that we're going to put in there going forward that during development you might come across, because we've come across them. So that's pretty much it. So, is there any questions?
What software would you use?
Software?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's a good process and very much logical.
Okay.
But it looks quite sort of, you know, writing a lot out in the boxes.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the idea. I mean, we thought about you know, providing it on, say, something like Confluence or Visio, where they can fill it in on the web or on their iPad. But actually, what we've found from experience is actually in some cases it's nice just to have a printout. And then you can take it to someone's desk and just scribble on things and that sort of thing. So we found it was a lot more effective if we just had a big stack of them. And this is at my previous company. But we just had a big stack of them, and once you actually got to a point, you went to your manager and said, look, I can't get to the bottom of this problem. It's taken me 2 days. Or we just say, right, get a problem solving sheet and get input from the rest of the team. So put down what you know about it and we'll do some collaboration. So it was just a bit easier that way, but there's nothing to stop you. I mean, you could put it in Confluence, have a little Confluence page, or share. Well, Jira is Atlassian Stack, so Jira is more bug tracking, whereas Confluence is more of a wiki. So, but you could use something, you know, SharePoint or whatever, anything like that.
It's a Sitecore pen, Jason, if you like.
Yeah, I was going to say a Sitecore based wiki. Sitecore single search is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, all attributes of one.
I've written another blog post just on my thoughts on this, and I think generally I wouldn't say wouldn't dictate a specific tool. I'd say whatever you feel comfortable, whatever works for your team. You know, maybe we like Confluence, maybe other people like a different tool, maybe people like just to scribble it down. So just whatever really works. It's more, you know, don't impose a tool on your team, because if they don't like it, or you know, it's not workable, they won't use it and you won't get the value out of it. So just try a few different things. I think I'm not saying even use this problem solving worksheet, but I'm just saying get stuff out of your head, you know, get it down somewhere so that it can be shared, because it's not great to just, you know, have it in one person's head.
At what point do you recommend forward a question to Sitecore support? In the early stages or the late stages?
The late stages. No.
So maybe Sitecore knows about the problem already.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, this is again. That's. I mean, we. The idea of this is that we can share it. So, you know, we're going to find a medium in order to do that. I mean, we've got the Partner Pulse, so if we get an issue, we'll upload it to the Partner Pulse Confidence pages, and I mean, I'll speak to Anthony and we'll find a way of doing this. But absolutely, as a user group and as Sitecore developers, if we can share that knowledge somehow, it'd definitely be useful.
If we just fill in the first bit, can Sitecore support just fill in the rest of it?
Well, you can fill in some hunches, and then we can just tell you to use your own initiative.
That's not a bad comment. The reality is that if you can do a lot of the decision tree and a lot of the hunches and give the facts, then this is being run by people like Alan Kellin, who's one of our support managers, based in the Ukraine. And they have very similar processes for when they receive requests in from you guys. If they can't deal with it there and then, it gets documented and goes to on time and etc. We have a tool for that. But if you can get half of that filled out, you're probably going to put that information into a Sitecore support ticket anyway. So the first partner, first developer to use that sheet and attach it to on time when you're submitting a support ticket. I would love to follow that through that and see how it made a difference. It will help us refine our process. So, again,
it is actually on the sheet, and you can actually see it to it printed out. But if I go back, so over here, the last step is if you are unable to ascertain root cause, raise a Sitecore support ticket, tag this on. So, yeah. I think another key point, sort of on that basis, is that what we've used in the past is actually to gather data on the issue, and actually that data might not be within the realms of your team. It might be with the customer, or in this case, it might be Sitecore. So if you can basically get as many facts down and share that with Sitecore, or share that with your customer in order to work out, is it because you might not know that they've upgraded the memory on one of their on one of the hardware machines that they've got there. And you wouldn't consider that, so you could be getting blue screens and thinking, oh, could it be something to do with the software? But actually, it's because they put some faulty memory in. So, it's very much to collaborate, not just in a single team, but across teams as well. Don't worry, we'll get to that in a sec. But is there any more questions at all? Okay, so this is for Kern. Kern is, it's not actually coming on. Okay. So we'd like you to be Sitecore Mobros. So the question is, are you man, or most sisters are welcome to sponsor or join, if they can grow a moustache, to sponsor or join us. So we're going to be partaking in, or some of the team will be partaking in Movember, trying to grow some moustaches and raise some money for charity. So if you want to join us, then go to this link, and if you want to give us some money, go to this link too.
And if you want to sponsor, that's fine as well, but we're happy with giving us money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, joke aside, it's a good cause, and if you are participating in November yourself, you can join our team. Or if you're not planning on participating, how about going to an employer and saying that Sitecore is doing this and they should sponsor?
Cool.
Yeah, come on. We just gave you pizza here. Good idea.
Right, thank you very much, Andy. So you have 10 minutes to tie the barman out, finish up the rest of the pizza, and then grab a seat for my presentation. Thank you.